Europe is going through the most challenging energy crisis we've seen in modern history, while the devastating impacts of the climate crisis are becoming ever more evident across the entire planet. This summer, heat waves, droughts, intense rainfall, floods and other extreme events compromise our lives, our food production, our economy, our health. Governments and international institutions are under pressure to deal with the impacts and costs. In Pakistan, 33 million people have been affected by recent floods, which have killed over 1,200 people, a third of whom were children. Following Russia's invasion of Ukraine, global energy markets have been put under huge stress because Russia is weaponizing energy supply. Back in March, Europe already set out to phase out Russian fossil fuels as soon as possible. Our strategy is to diversify gas supply, accelerate renewables deployment, and save energy. With Repower EU, we set the course, and we will stay the course. Our climate neutrality ambition stays unchallenged, even if the pathway may change. Our way out of the crisis goes through more renewables and more energy efficiency. We put the bar higher on those targets in Fit for 55. We need even more investments in grids, even faster permitting, access to raw materials and new skills, and we need it now. We will work closely with member states to build an enabling environment for massive renewables deployment in the immediate future. But if we want to be safe this winter and ready for the next one, if we want to have a resilient economy and minimize inflation, we also need to act now to reduce our energy demand, just as massively, if not even more. In July, member states agreed to reduce their gas demand by 15%. Next week, we will propose a framework to also flatten the peaks in our electricity consumption, which trigger the use of expensive gas and drive prices up. No intervention in the electricity market can compensate for the fact that billions of cubic meters of gas are kept out of global energy markets because of Russia's energy blackmail. And no intervention in the electricity market can compensate for the fact that this year's drought has severely affected power generation in the EU. Yes, our electricity market will need to be reformed because it was designed for markets dominated by coal and gas, which need low upfront investments, but are more expensive to run. This is very different from renewables because wind and sun come for free once you've made the investments to capture their power. So it is clear that a reform is necessary. We will table our proposals for that next year, but we can already take first steps now to channel the benefits of cheap renewables and ensure they flow directly to European families while preserving incentives to invest for producers and save for consumers. Volatile markets are bad for consumers, bad for power generators, and bad for our economy at large. So let's work together to get ourselves ready for this winter. The focus is on the now, but the vision must remain on the longer term. Let's generate investments to serve future generations, and let's avoid bad debts and fossil fuel subsidies that will only make our children poorer. For this to succeed, we need to work closely with the power sector. And that's why I'm happy to be able to address you as this year's edition of Power Barometer is published. This picture is very different from where we were last year, but despite the recent surge in coal and the dash for new sources of gas supply, Europeans have clearly turned the page on expensive fossil fuels. What they want is more solar, more wind, more hydrogen, more electric cars, more batteries, and more efficiency. The European Green Deal is there to respond to all these demands. So let's go full speed ahead. Let's create that future based on homegrown, affordable, renewable energy. Thank you.